These days, politicians and MPs make statements all the time. These days in Kenya, there are so many press conferences that it is easy just to ignore the whole lot of them. However, there's one that took place a few hours ago that I need to draw your attention to, because I believe it was a very significant presser. And it tells us a lot about what is going on currently and what we should expect very shortly on our rather dramatic political scene. Well, in this presser, just a few hours ago, 23 legislators drawn from Jubilee, ODM, Ford Kenya, Wiper and KANU called for the resignation of Deputy President William Samoei Ruto. Now, I can hear some of you asking, Chris, get serious. They called for his resignation. So what? Well. Let me tell you a brief story from Kenya's political past. In 1988, Kenya got her 5th vice president. His name was Josephat Karanja, previously a vice chancellor of the University of Nairobi, and a man who had the distinction of being the youngest high commissioner to the UK from Kenya at only the age of 33 years old. Now, for the purposes of our topic today, barely a year later, in 1989, a little-known legislator from Embakasi constituency in Nairobi by the name of David Mwenje stood up in Parliament and demanded the immediate resignation of Vice President Josephat Karanja. Kenyans were stunned. Now, fascinatingly, the accusations against him were just out of this world. He was accused of soliciting support from Western powers like the United Kingdom and the US to overthrow the government of Daniel Toroitich Arap Moi. The way things went then is that quite a number of MPs were caught completely by surprise when Mwenje stood up in Parliament and made this statement. In fact, they expected him to be arrested at any time and carted off to Nyaya House and then on to detention. But then nothing happened to him. So they quickly caught on and joined the fray, joined the lynching mob against the then vice president. We were told, as evidence in quotes, that indeed it was true that he was plotting with foreign powers, was the fact that his wife was not even Kenyan. Actually, his wife was a stunningly beautiful Ugandan lady. The insinuation was that as a vice president of the Republic of Kenya, he came across very sensitive government secrets. And how did that work when his wife, because your wife is supposed to have access to you at all times, and is bound to come across many things, which come across your table. So how does it work when your wife is a foreigner who can easily be swayed to work for a foreign government? Actually, Dr. Josephat Karanja caused some of the problems here, because he used to appear with his beautiful wife in public at a time when it was politically incorrect to appear in public with your wife. Why? Because Moi never appeared with a wife anywhere. So you can imagine there your boss, the president, is alone, the other cabinet ministers are alone, and you turn up with your wife. And to make it worse, your wife is a stunner. Drop gorgeous, beautiful. Seriously, what do you expect? Anyway, let me not get carried away. The point I'm trying to make is that within a few weeks of this stunning accusation against a vice president of Kenya and a demand for his resignation, Josephat Karanja was gone. And of course, the next vice president was the late Professor George Saitoti. Bottom line, in Kenyan politics, When MPs start calling for the resignation of a vice president or a deputy president, as we have these days, it is not business as usual. Usually, wametumwa. They have been sent. But sent by whom? Well, let me put it the Kenyan way. They have been sent from above. And I'm not talking about heaven. Now, let us take a closer look at this latest presser calling for the resignation of our deputy president. And then we see whether we are right or whether this time things are different. Because it's a long time since 1988, or rather 1989, when Josephat Karanja was forced to resign from the vice presidency. A lot has changed in Kenyan politics, granted. So let's take a closer look and see. Number one, the MPs were drawn from all major political parties in Kenya at the moment. Jubilee, ODM, Wiper, Ford Kenya, you name it, they were there. Even KANU. Number two, there were quite a number of legislators who hail from the Rift Valley. And the most vocal was the Tiaty legislator, William Kamket. Number three, some of the legislators at this presser are former staunch supporters of Deputy President William Samoei Ruto, like Bwana Momanyi from Kisii. And so, the immediate question one has to ask themselves is, what has changed? What would cause somebody who was in Team Tanga Tanga to suddenly stop singing the praises of the Deputy President and switch to praising the BBI? A little persuasion from the BBI side or Team Keleweke, perhaps? On this channel, we sometimes talk about the waving of files. And for those who are new, the waving of files is a file that has all your sins. And so you're told, you know you did this is a crime, you know this can be prosecuted in court. But of course we can forget about the contents of this file if you do A, B, C, D. By the way, you'll be surprised, this is not a new tactic. The colonial government in Kenya used to do the same thing. Remember, we are trying to prove to ourselves that these legislators, these 23 MPs, did not just wake up one day and decide, no, we need to get rid of the deputy president. No way. What we're trying to prove is that they were, shall we say, persuaded to hold this presser. Or shall we say they were encouraged to go ahead and hold this press conference. But even more significant are the circumstances and the environment under which this press conference, dramatic press conference, came to be. The impression that was given was that these 23 legislators were provoked into making this statement by the latest attacks by Team Tanga Tanga against key government officials. 2 days ago, on Tuesday, Team Tanga Tanga accused internal CS Fred Matiang'i, his PS Karanja Kibicho, and the Police Inspector General Hilary Mutyambai of planning and organizing the chaos or pockets of chaos during the Kibra by-election. Now, this is quite an accusation. They accused the three of actually planning the fracas in parts of Kibra. And so what the MPs were saying, it is not possible to accuse such powerful people in government, and you're not actually accusing your boss, the President of Kenya, President Uhuru Kenyatta. It's not possible. So, just resign. Now, the reason why I find this super fascinating, is the fact that, in case you didn't know, is the fact that the Kibra by-election was actually a major political war front between Team Keleweke and Team Tangatanga. In other words, to put it bluntly, the Kibra by-election was not won by ODM. It was won by the BBI and Team Keleweke against Team Tangatanga and the Deputy President. And if you need more proof, these same legislators spend a lot of time accusing the Deputy President of using all his energy and time to attack the BBI and to undermine the handshake. Okay, I can sense you're still not convinced. Let me present more evidence. Have you noticed that since after those by-elections, the direct attacks by the Deputy President on Raila Odinga have increased dramatically? Indeed, they become more vicious. The Deputy President is using words like conman to describe Raila Odinga. Just chew on that for a few minutes. And then let me introduce you to something else that I believe is linked directly to these latest developments. For several weeks now, multiple sources have told me that actually the Deputy President intends to leave the Jubilee Party. And some of these rumors are so sensational that even I do not know what to make of them. For instance, somebody says that the party which the Deputy President intends to use to vie for the presidency of the Republic of Kenya in 2022 is called, wait for this one, Chama cha Mashinani. Now that's the party which belongs to former Bomet Governor Isaac Ruto. Wah! Drama, bin drama, Arab drama, ole drama, everything. Now, personally, if you ask me, I find that unbelievable. Yes, CCM is a grassroots Rift Valley political party. That is true. Yes, Isaac Ruto and Deputy President William Samoei Ruto are close these days. That is also true. But I find it very difficult to believe that the former NASA principal, Isaac Ruto, would actually hand over his baby to the Deputy President to use as his ticket to the presidency in 2022. I find that very difficult to believe. But then I must quickly admit that in politics, anything is possible. So how is this linked to the latest presser calling for the resignation of the Deputy President? Well, let me answer that question by giving you an example from everyday life. Something which is very normal in Kenya today, unfortunately. This couple decide to divorce. They part ways. And people are discussing about this divorce. And then you'll hear somebody asking, who left? Did the woman leave the man? Or the man left the woman? Because I've heard that the woman left. Now, why is it significant who left who? I think we all know that unfortunately, in this modern age still, if your wife leaves you, it is serious. But if you leave your wife, in Kenya at least, it is normal. And please don't get mad at me. I don't make the rules. That is our society today. Now let's move on to politics. In politics, it is even more significant if your deputy president or your vice president resigns in half. Because it means, if that deputy president vies for an election later, he'll be able to use this against you. He will be able to say, I left because I wanted to disassociate myself from the policies and the mess of that government. And I'm sure most of us know that in politics, the facts are irrelevant. What matters is the perception. And so, it is in fact much better for the government in power if that deputy president is pressured into resigning. If the wife leaves, Sympathy is with the wife. She must have been in a situation where she could not bear the mess in that home anymore. I think you get my drift. And therefore, folks, what we're faced with is a situation where, in case somebody wants to leave, notice I choose my words very carefully, because on this channel I'm often accused, oh Chris, you predicted this. I am not predicting anything. I'm just giving you scenarios. And so we're faced with a situation where, in case somebody wants to leave, it is very important how that person lives. Because how that person lives will impact the 2022 elections. Politics is so fiercely competitive that a politician cannot afford to ignore any small advantage they may be able to get. Any small advantage that is in your power to grab, you will grab. Bottom line, in my view, I believe that pressure is just the beginning for one of the sides in the political divide to start piling up pressure for somebody to leave office. And very significantly, this pressure is coming in at a time when the deputy president has been increasing his attacks against Raila Odinga, who is one of the principals in the handshake. Now, as I'm sure you have guessed, there are a lot of very fascinating and shocking things happening behind the scenes. In fact, for those who take in my weekly intelligence briefs, this latest development is not really surprising. And by the way, I have some great news for you. Somebody told me, Chris, I work for 24 hours and then I take a break for 24 hours. You had this lifetime offer for 24 hours when I was at work. When I came out of work, it was over. That's not fair. And so for the sake of that person and others, especially in the diaspora, who work very hard, and maybe work for 24 hours, we want 30 more people to have the opportunity, the very golden rare opportunity of being a life member to the weekly intelligence briefs and Club 1999 for only $29.99. That offer ends strictly tomorrow, Friday, midnight, Kenyan time. Or when we get those 30 people, whichever happens first. Now, when you send an email, a blank email to the email address you see on your screens right now, you will get an update. For instance, you will see 20 more positions, 15 more positions, 10 more people to benefit from this offer. So you'll have an advantage. You'll know immediately whether you will qualify or not. So all those who missed out, maybe you're working for 24 hours. That's quite taxing, Anyway, that's life. So those who missed out, maybe you're not online, you're busy. You are not working for 24 hours, but you are busy, went on a trip or something. You have yet another chance. Unfortunately, the last chance. Okay? So rush, take full advantage of it. Anyway, back to what we were saying. We talked on this channel about political alliances. Brand new BBI political alliances. And I think a day or two later, there was an announcement concerning the same. Now, the reason why I'm bringing that up is not to brag. I don't know how to brag, by the way. And I've never had interest in bragging. Because political analysis is a very serious business. And it's very easy to get it wrong. And I get it wrong sometimes. I'm human. However, this is evidence that what is happening in Kenya right now is that we are moving at a very high speed towards some kind of climax, where something must give. And even more significant, it is clear that this climax will not be in the 2022 elections. No. It seems that 2022 will be decided long before 2022. Indeed, in the next few months. Things will change very dramatically in Kenyan politics, to prepare the way for 2022. And let me give you an example from soccer. You have this tournament, and then the favorites, the hot favorites for the tournament are meeting in the quarterfinals, long before the semi-finals or the finals. And therefore, that's the match to watch, because after that match, the rest of the tournament is going to be very boring and very predictable. I believe this is what's going to happen in Kenyan politics. It's all going to be decided very soon, so that as we head closer to 2022, it's going to be much more predictable than it is at the moment. Now, that is what I believe. I firmly believe that that is true. That is what is going to happen. Now, of course, I could be wrong. Or maybe, if you got hold of some of the contents in the weekly intelligence briefings, you would actually start to agree with me. I don't know. Until next time, this is Chris Kumekucha.